I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And of the things we think, say, and do, is it truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build good friendship?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, we're getting better at that. We still got a ways to go. Hopefully by the time we get good at it, we'll be done with it and I can be live again. Rick, you have our birthdays and anniversaries?
Yes, sir, I do. And this will be a short report today. Surprisingly, one moment, I'm pulling that up as we speak. Last week, we were talking about our original club founders, and with the help of Mike and Steve, we've dug through and we have found the 8 original founding members of the club. And again, we celebrate that on May 1st, and next year, it will be the club's 30th anniversary.
Yes.
So that'll be really a big one, and we want to celebrate. But just to recognize those real quickly, Lawrence Mann, Tom Sears, Don Ray, Jonathan Smith, Robbie Hassel, Buster Lewis, Mike Conrad, Jim Kennedy, Tom Phoenix, and Rusty Hoffman. Those were the original founding charter members, and they have just a little bit different variation on their dates of club anniversary, but they were all right there. So since we were kind of incomplete last week, just want to recognize those guys and thank them so much for what they did and getting this really fine club started. So tip of the hat to you men. This week, we have no member birthdays. We have none of our spouses, partners' birthdays. We do have a few wedding anniversaries this week. So I saw James Pigram. I think you're here, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I think you've got one, just had one,
Right.
what, Monday?
Monday, I was number 35.
All right, yeah, let's hear it for James and Linda. Good deal. Congratulations,
Thank you.
guys. Yeah. Rob Midget, I'm not looking at everybody. Are you here with us? Well, Rob and Susan also had an anniversary on the 4th, and on the 5th, David Lillard, I know you're here, my man. David and Nikki had a anniversary on the 5th of May. How many was that one, Dave?
13.
13, lucky 13. All right. All right. Well, congratulations and happy anniversary. Okay, and as our club public service, heads up next week, you guys don't say we didn't warn you. Tom Phoenix, Guy Rabondo, and Kelly Harrell, you guys got some coming up, so don't let it slip by. Don't say you weren't warned. All right, Mr. President, and that is it for this week.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. Cindy, would you do me a favor and kind of update us on where we are for next Saturday? Chip, you may want to chime in too. I'm not sure. I know there have been a lot of texts going back and forth, and we have located some meat and made some decisions in that regard. And hopefully we're now ready to get some volunteers.
Yes, so I met with Chip yesterday at Daystar Church on Merritt Drive, and we've got a plan of action. We're going to need volunteers on Friday and Saturday. I have sent some details to Billy Dodd. Shortly, there will be a sign-up genius that'll come out that everybody can hopefully take part in. We're going to be cooking most everything at Daystar on Friday, and then transporting it over to the church on 68 where we will serve on Saturday afternoon. So we're trying to kind of break up the volunteer times into 2 or 3 hour segments so that nobody is totally overwhelmed, but it also will give everybody an opportunity to do something. So Chip, would you like to join in and say anything about all of that?
Yeah, I went out to Daystar yesterday and met with Christy. They have a very nice commercial grade kitchen. In particular, we're going to take our club barbecue cooker out there and put 10 Boston butts on it. And then Dan Quinn has lined us up another one from one of his friends. And we're going to have 2 cookers there. We can put 10 Boston butts on that. I think we're going to fire them up about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And that will allow us to cook all day on Friday, which is typically 8 hours, 10 hours if things don't go well, but 8 hours if they do. And so we'll need some help tending the grills. Once they're lit, it's not that big a deal. But we have other prep things going on, and I would urge people to volunteer and come out and help us. And then after that, we've got to chop all those Boston butts up, which will be between 160 and 200 pounds. And then on Saturday, we'll need to have people help us serve that to how many people, Christy? Roughly 500?
Yeah, we're going to prep for 500 people. So
Right.
Right. Christy, are you still going to have the bread packing Friday afternoon then?
Oh yeah, we will.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be at our warehouse. We're going to be cooking everything at the Daystar on Merritt Drive location.
So so the meal prep will go directly from Daystar to where?
To our warehouse location, which is at the church on 68.
Okay.
Yeah, so Daystar has been very gracious and letting us be in their space. They're centrally located right off of the highway on Merritt Drive. And so we've been doing 3 food giveaways there every week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I've been cooking on Mondays and Fridays, so I've got kind of the whole setup ready to go. So it's just a matter of getting some extra hands to help and, chopping and prepping and cooking and putting everything together so that on Saturday we'll be ready to plate it up and serve it. So we have a market on Saturday afternoon at our warehouse space. So folks will actually drive up. They will probably, like I said last week, they will probably be in line by 9:30 or 10 a.m. for a 2 p.m. market. So they, some of the folks have done that before, so they know that they're going to be sitting there waiting for a while, but they will be ready to get a big box of produce, meat product, bread, all kinds of different things, as well as this hot meal that we're planning for everybody.
Yeah. I went out yesterday and I was totally amazed. I think the only people that might do it as well, if not maybe a little bit better, is the way that Chick-fil-A handles 2 drive-through lines at one time. So they had cars coming through there, and there was actually a bigger line to get out than there was to get in to the church and pick up the stuff. They had lots of volunteers, and I hope the Gate City Rotary will be well represented at that. I'm going to be there all day Friday, and I'll be there much of the day on Saturday myself in order to help out. So Daystar Church, where we're doing the cook, is at 1806 Merritt Drive in Greensboro. It's right past the highway if you're going down Merritt. They got a great facility. So we'll actually put together some numbers and get that out in the sign-up sheet. If you don't sign up, you're welcome to just drop by and come in and try and help out a little bit. So we appreciate it.
And what is that date again? We're going to cook, Chip. I'll help you.
Cook on the 15th, Rick. And we've got 2 cookers. I've never seen one of them, so I'm going to have to go down there Thursday and take a look at it and see and just get an idea how it runs. But our club cooker is a gas cooker, and with any luck at all, we won't run out of gas and the wind won't blow the light out. That's the purpose for 2 cookers. You also have a convection oven, but I'd love for you to help you. And this is not a midnight to 8 a.m. thing, kind of thing. We're going to light them up about 8:30, I think, Friday morning.
Hey, Chip, Christy, do you guys want that trailer, or you guys got everything else you need as far as that goes?
My personal opinion is I think we'd be okay without the trailer. What do you think, Chip?
Which trailer? The trailer cooker or or your kitchen trailer?
The kitchen, the mobile kitchen trailer.
I don't think we need that, Dan. I think we need that cooker, though.
Yeah, you have that.
Thanks for the offer, though.
Now, this is going to be a fun time. It's going to be once the Boston butts are on the fire, it should be pretty much a fun day. So there's going to be a lot of running around, picking up meat to get it on the fire. But Christy and I are going to do most of the prep on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening after we pick the Boston butts up. And if one or two people want to show up that have some that speak Boston butt, come on.
Okay. Fantastic.
Have you got that meat lined up yet, Chip?
I tentatively have from Triad Meat.
Yeah, that's who I was going to go to.
Yeah, they Sally down there called, very helpful, offered us a good price, 20 Boston butts for $280.
Oh wow!
That's a super price. And I do want to reiterate this though, not from Ann's Triad Meat, but several different people involved in the food industry have pointed out to me in the last 3 days that there seems to be a shortage of beef going around, and some hamburger-based restaurants and restaurant chains are having problems acquiring all the beef that they need. Just a word to the wise to my close friends here at Gate City Rotary, might not hurt to throw an extra piece or two in the freezer.
Wendy's has a major problem right now. They've got 1,000 units that don't have any hamburger.
Which one is that, Frank?
Wendy's.
Wendy's has gone back to the worm burger.
Because they sell fresh beef instead of frozen.
Yeah.
Sue's threatening to turn me vegan over this.
There's always an alternative use to these problems, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah.
That's right, guys. I know we've been spending a lot of time making lemonade here lately. The first Satellite Club live meeting is going to be Tuesday the 12th. This is one of the advantages of having a very small club, at least to begin with. So they'll only have about 10 folks there. So they'll still be legal and all that kind of things, be able to social distance and do whatever they need to do to be safe. This is not a meeting that all of us are actually welcome to, but I wanted to let you guys know that that deal is up and going, and they're starting to run with it now. So it's working out great. Buster, how about some happy dollars?
Yes, how about some happy dollars?
I got one.
Go, Chip.
I went turkey hunting yesterday, and I want to mark all the turkey, the deer, the pond, the shotgun shells, and myself safe. Absolutely nothing happened other than sitting out in the woods in the rain for a little while, but it was very nice out there.
Check your backside for ticks.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
No turkeys were harmed in this production.
That's right.
Not even scared.
No.
It's funny. Nobody? Come on, people.
Man, it's a big rush here, Buster.
Yeah.
Buster, I got one.
All right, Bobby C.
Let's see, what's today? Sometime in the night, Tuesday night, that relay team that I'm running on, we broke the world record.
Oh my gosh.
And like 4,200 miles, and we're going to run until Monday morning. We'll hit 5,000 miles. And,
wow.
I ran about 130 miles, I guess.
Jan and I covered that in the morning.
Although we never see anybody except the person you're relieving, and you say hi and bye. So it's sort of been a lonesome.
And people ran during that storm the other night?
Yeah. Whole time. Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
Oh, the paper.
This morning's newspaper.
Today?
Yep.
Oh, I hadn't looked at it. Okay.
Front page and bottom front of the sports.
I'll look for that.
Buster, I've got another one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. My son Lance, he was celebrating his 15th birthday yesterday, and all his friends did one of those parades, drive by, honk your horn, and stop. And so we had a line of traffic out in front of the house yesterday afternoon about 5:30. That was really cool. Kind of reminds me of some of those graduations.
I've got a general public announcement, but I'll throw $1 in the hat for it too. I think it's at 11:30 today. The North Carolina Air National Guard will be flying over High Point Regional Hospital and Moses Cone Hospital. They're hitting all the major city hospitals in a flight that starts, I think, at 9 o'clock this morning. They fly out of Charlotte going towards Asheville and then come back this way. And I believe it's 11:30. I will post that or send it to the club if you're interested. I have no idea how many planes, but they're going to be flying at about 1,200 feet when they get to each local hospital. It's to honor the hospital workers who are trying to help out in all this mess.
So Bobby C, stay off the air.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bobby could fly over your business for $20.
I heard that it's a 1C-17. I don't know how true that is, but a friend of ours is retired Air Guard and said that they only had one in their unit at the time. So we'll see. TBD.
Yeah, well, that's better than none, I guess.
That's right.
True.
Mark, did you have a happy dollar? I saw you holding your. Nope.
Well,
I've got a happy dollar. We have a club member. Is Gail here this morning? Yes. I don't think she is. She announced last week she knew of somebody that actually could make a house call for a haircut. And I've got, I guess, a couple of happy dollars. I was so desperate for a haircut, believe it or not, Chip, it actually does go right over my ears. I was about to ask my wife, or I said, honey, you're going to have to cut my hair. And we get along so well, but when we start teaming up on something like that, Rick has a lot of direction for people, and some people don't like all the direction. So just in the nick of time, I got my hair cut, and my marriage was saved because I didn't have to put my wife through it. So a couple of happy bucks there. Thank you, Gail.
I got a couple of happy dollars. As you guys were talking about the Out of the Garden project, a really close friend of mine who's just as sweet as can be, I was talking to him again about Rotary because I just love you all. And he was interested in learning more. So we've been chatting about it. And I said, you know, if you're interested in coming out and checking out the club, there's this opportunity to volunteer next Saturday. So he just said that he's interested. So maybe he'll come and help out.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's a real sweet guy. So, and my other happy dollar is tomorrow is Military Spouse Appreciation Day. So if you know anyone that is a spouse, thank you for their service. I just wanted to throw that out there.
That reminds me, Danielle, Grandpappy always used to say that that anytime you saw where they had someone had an appreciation day, they were always underpaid and underappreciated. So that's it's what I reminded me of. Well, I guess nurses get paid pretty well, but if you have an appreciation day, you're probably underpaid.
That's why they've never had one for accountants.
Yeah.
Or lawyers.
That's because they're not underpaid.
Logistics specialists appreciation day.
Yeah, there's no lawyer appreciation day. All right. Happy dollars out.
All right, that's it. No more words of wisdom or anything, Buster? Okay. I don't know how I'm going to get through my Thursday, but I'm going to give it a try. Jim Kennedy, I believe you're introducing our speaker today.
Yes, I will. I'm really happy to introduce Jason Burr to you. Jason has been a great help to Sue and I over the years. We've been through several changes in technology, and of course Sue does a lot from home here. So you know, she's really benefited from Jason's knowledge over the years. Jason used to have his own company called First Service Solutions, but now he is with Longleaf Systems. And Jason, maybe you can tell us a little bit about them in your intro, but Jason is a real good IT resource for any of you that have a need. So Jason, take it away.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Let me get my presentation up for you all. Yeah, as Jim mentioned, I've really appreciated working with you guys for a long time. You know, Jim was nice enough to invite me. Also, I want to thank you guys for giving me a good reason to get up and shave today. I fortunately also was able to remove the jumpy castle that's typically in the background over here that you, hopefully you can't see any traces of that back there. Just let me know. So anyway, as Jim mentioned, I am the Director of Business Development with Longleaf Systems and Network Specialists here in Greensboro. You know, started in '98 in the IT industry, worked for a small business for about a year, and then I started my own company, helping small businesses and individuals for a better part of 22 years. And here, just as of February, I've been fortunate enough to get into more of a marketing role. The moving out of being on the front lines and being more responsible for sales and business development, which is really, really nice and timely because it's good to get off the front lines. You know, I still am able to stay in touch with the industry and what's happening. But I have 3 kids under the age of 4 here in the house. And so I now get to spend a little bit more time with them and not be on call. So speaking of which, if you do hear any sudden loud noises, knocking, crying, or otherwise, just please try not to be distracted. It's a real possibility. So what I've tried to do for you all today here, and I'll get moving a little bit more quickly now that we've started our intro, is I wanted to think about the things that we're seeing in our industry, and I picked the 7 most common challenges that we're facing and routinely working with to help clients, you know, in terms of support, not just now during this crisis, but, you know, obviously as an ongoing concern. Some of these, you know, I know are continued hot topics and things that you hear a lot about in IT, but the COVID-19 and the stay-at-home order has really accelerated a lot of the concerns that we have to deal with right now. So there's some change, there's some acceleration, and it's just a really good time to, you know, point out what we think is important, what we're dealing with. So I want to try to do anything I can here to share what I'm running up against with a lot of common concerns in the IT industry and what we're doing, and then sort of make some, you know, apply some advice that hopefully can help you guys if you're thinking about, you know, whether it's a small business that you run or in your company or even in your home. I do want to point out that my family and I have been especially fortunate during this time. We're all gainfully employed and well taken care of. You know, I know there's so many that are just working tirelessly, like you guys were talking about with the underappreciated. You know, it's been horrible dealing with the specter of the disease, and of course, you know, it's affected so many more adversely than others. We've been very fortunate. You know, I say this because I don't want to diminish the gravity of this situation, but you know, this is a 7 a.m. chat about information technology, which, you know, can be a little bit dry. So I've tried to add a little bit of levity and humor and in some of my slides here. But again, I don't want to diminish the seriousness of this. So with that, I'm going to get started. Like I said, I've just got 7 quick items I'm going to run through. I'm going to just share some things that we're seeing in the industry, and then I'm going to just have a couple of highlights with each topic, and then I'll have a time if anybody has any questions. Also, I just wanted to say that I see a lot of familiar faces and names. I say a lot, probably 3 or 4 of you. I don't know if you remember me, but I've met you or seen you. And so I just wanted to say, you know, kind of a hello. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and get moving here. Okay. So what I would like to sort of start out with is this idea that hopefully life coming out of this crisis will be better in general. Hopefully not just in terms of information technology, but I have to believe that we've been refined at a greater rate than what would have otherwise been possible. I've always kind of liked this idea of sort of thinking about the inverse of the crisis is what can we do? So I found this, Winston Churchill, they supposedly one of the people that has made this statement. We couldn't definitively say that he's the one that coined this phrase. I think you may have heard it before, but never let a good crisis go to waste. So what can we do to refine, to improve, to be better, and especially within the IT industry, what can we do to help our clients better in the midst of sort of acceleration and even a little bit of fear? Okay. So the idea, number one, one of the hottest issues that we're dealing with is the idea of working anywhere, remote solutions, so remote access, whether it be in your house, if you have, some people have actual property they own elsewhere, they've gone and sort of camped out. Surprisingly, a lot of businesses have been able to continue to work. In the IT industry, we've been pretty well insulated, but there have been some pockets of activity initially, a huge rush of, buttoning down some remote tools where some clients didn't already have in place. A lot already did. For our team, we were pretty seamless. We were already positioned to do that in a secure way. But what we've been seeing is a rush to security and make sure that things are comfortable and usable with what the less, not a lot of friction, but also very much secure in terms of enabling dual factor authentication. There's been a faster and improved adoption of remote work. There's been the need to fine tune policies with our, the owners of our small businesses, talking to them about how to secure and protect data. We've been, enabling dual factor authentication for everybody that connects. One other thing that has been, a key factor is managing the multiple screens, introducing screens. I just kind of made a comment here. Is 3 screens too many? I'm kind of wondering where it's going to end. It used to be that people had 1 extra screen. We've got people now with 3 and 4 extra screens. And so managing that from a remote standpoint has been something that we've been dealing with and improving upon, which hopefully can bode well for the future. So remote conferencing, number 2, is what we're doing right now. I kind of was wondering, who's getting tired of this? I wonder if I'd be real interested in the psychological impact, and are people enjoying it? Are they getting used to it? Or are we all just kind of ready to quit doing this via screen? But at this point, it's been actually really beneficial to keep people somewhat engaged. I personally am ready to go see people in person, get in front of people, and I miss having coffee. But anyway, in terms of what I wanted to share with you in regards to our business is what we've been having to fine tune and grow. And I think one of the improvements that's going to come out of this is the integration of conferencing and collaboration tools. So not just doing video conferencing, but taking the applications that you use to collaborate with your team, whether it be Microsoft Teams, Slack, and you can build in the video conferencing as a function of that and share files. There's the ability to edit files simultaneously with people as a function within that tool. That's been something that's been very helpful. So 2 people can work on a Word document at the same time. That has been available for a while, but we've had to fine tune that for people and engage it and enable it where it was not. So you have 5 or 6 people and they can all be working on a spreadsheet, talking about it at the same time, using their instant messaging tools and collaboration tools. So those are all things that I think have been refined and improved. Obviously, security is key, just like the other issues. I wanted to point out that fastest to market does not mean better. So Zoom has been great. There's been some issues they've had, and there's been some concern, a little bit of Zoom fatigue. They've had some security issues. So in talking to our clients, the data that you're sharing drives the tool. So the security level. What security level do you need? What are you sharing? And how do you do things like enable password protection on your meeting? Perhaps you can't use Zoom for a particular collaboration meeting, depending on what's being done. And those are the kinds of conversations we've been having. And I think, again, that's going to drive down the road, better tools and better security. So security of email is absolutely one of our key drivers of conversation right now. A lot of clients are receiving what you would call phishing attempts. In March, I read that it was up 37 times as a function of this crisis. People trying to take advantage of people in the midst of fear, concern, worry, a lot of PPP fraud attempts, phishing attempts, scams. And I just, as a reminder, what I tell my clients is, if you're asked to enter your email address and password, just don't do it if you can. Sometimes there are legitimate situations where somebody has access to a file and you have to log into your Microsoft account. It's just too close to what could potentially be a scam. Try to avoid it if you can. Call the sender, have them send it in a way that you don't have to enter any secure information. There's sometimes no way around that, but that's something we try to be very careful about. I had a little joke here about this, call that I get is pretty frequently is people receive an email, they're prompted to enter an email address and password, and they literally just start entering every password they know, which is obviously the very last thing you want to do. So awareness, education are key, but to be honest with you, in the last 5 years, what I figured is that awareness and education don't fix the problem. We've had to employ professional mail filtering tools. Mimecast is the one we're currently using for our clients. And basically what you do there is you try to, prevent the files from getting into the inbox. So it's not a choice, and you don't have to have the decisions, they're filtered prior to that. So prevention is best. So cloud computing. I know this is sort of it's kind of lost its shininess in terms of a topic. You've heard a lot about cloud computing. It's really, I kind of dislike this when the terminology was first coined. Is really a marketing term more than anything, that essentially, if you can access your files and they're not stored on your computer, they're stored elsewhere, that is considered a hosted solution or cloud computing. So the goal there and the long-term impact is, the decreased dependence on hardware and what we have in our hands, access to files. So during this time, you look at, well, if I'm working remotely, if I'm not physically present in my office, I can grab any computer. I can even grab a tablet and have access to my files, which is wonderful, but it absolutely opens up Pandora's box again in terms of who has the keys to the castle. So what we're trying to make sure we talk to our clients about very specifically is, how much do I trust my cloud partner? Who are you using to store the files? Are they protected via dual factor? What if they go away? What happens? Again, speed and fear amidst the crisis can cause decisions to be made a little bit too quickly if you're not careful. So we just engage in a slow, predictable, practical way with big vendors, good reputation, have a partner that you trust. The other thing that we're working on, and again, in this scenario that's been driving this at a faster rate, is the consolidation of hosts. So if you have several different tools that you access, files that you access, consolidating them into what's called a single pane of glass. So one screen giving you access to lots of your tools. Again, the trust in your partner and a lot of the slow discussions to get to that point. I say, can't I just do everything from a beach in Costa Rica now anyway? And the answer is, why not? But there's just a lot of impact and a lot of things potentially that can affect that you have to make sure that you discuss carefully and work through slowly. I hope some of you have heard of IoT, the Internet of Things. So real briefly, this is a really interesting topic. the example and what we're running into in our industry is, so a good example that we have is a company that does e-commerce. And so they have a distribution system that they can monitor from, you know, anywhere that they are. They don't have to physically be in the office. They're able to track and monitor the distribution of the packages with some equipment that they have. So the business application there is security cameras, manufacturing equipment, distribution equipment. How do you really control those devices? Those devices are on the internet. There's also the residential personal impact and fun things that you guys probably have, like the you know, door locks that you can control with your cell phone or thermostats. These are all things that are connected via IoT. And you know, it's actually a really fun topic. It's a really interesting, and there's a lot of growth here. But again, back to the idea that this is Pandora's box. We have to be very careful. And what we're doing from a small business standpoint is having conversations with clients and you know, and pleading them to please do not bring devices into the environment without talking to us as your, you know, security provider and your team. You know, we have what I call BYOT. So you engage a trusted partner and avoid bringing your own technology into the environment. You know, the demand to monitor your business or home remotely is great. The premium on trust and the security of the product is key. All right, so number 6, backup and disaster recovery. So backup and disaster recovery is one of the key drivers in terms of support for clients and one of the most valuable tools in our stack of solutions that we're engaging with, as you can imagine. So it used to be that you thought, well, are my Excel files backed up? Or my PDFs backed up? Do I have what I need to recover in case of a scenario that, you know, but that's fine. But it's actually now what we're really trying to look at is not do I have my files backed up, but how quickly after a disaster can I be back up and running at full steam? So, you know, from an enterprise grade solution in terms of what we're offering our clients, it's a solution of disaster recovery, meaning if equipment is down, you know, Sunday night, can you be back up Monday morning without having to reload, reconfigure? So, you know, it's the idea of having a true image, a true system state backup with all the files, the software, the applications, customizations, favorites, bookmarks, signatures, everything, instead of having to reload a system and then go through the turmoil of loading software, trying to recover the files, waiting for the files, putting them into place. The goal is that we have a true image that we can spin up, whether it be a server or even a desktop for a small business, and they're up and running, virtualized until we get hardware in, and then we can take an image and put it onto the hardware. So those are the types of things that we're talking about. And right now is a really good time, you know, amidst, you know, these times. Again, it highlights some of these issues. It gives us an opportunity to think about it. But the recommendation here is, if you haven't done it and you have critical data, simulate a data loss. Go through the motions if you have a backup solution. If you don't, you know, decide if you need one, depending on what you're doing, and get one in place. Okay, last one, security software. So formerly known as antivirus software. It's still sort of known as antivirus software, but we wrap that terminology into security because not just preventing from viruses, we're also trying to prevent malware, spyware, crypto locker, all sorts of things in a proactive fashion. So it used to be back in the day that, you know, an antivirus solution essentially built a catalog of definitions, and then the definitions would run against the PC to try to find a match. So the definitions had to be newer than the virus, or at least timely. So the solution that we've engaged now is basically what's called a 0-day security tool. And that's, you know, basically what that does is it tries to detect through artificial intelligence a change that would be viral. So it's trying to be proactive and intelligent enough so that you don't have to have an out of date set of definitions to try to protect your system. We now recommend a true zero-day artificial intelligence protection suite. Currently, Sentinel-1 is one of the industry leaders in this as a solution for this. And thus far, it's advanced. It's got the ability to protect your system in a proactive way, which is again the key word that I want to enforce here. And I think that's about it. That's my 7, and I really appreciate you guys letting me run through that. I'm gonna see if anybody has any questions.
I had a question, Jason, chip person here.
Yes.
You mentioned Slack, Teams, some other things, and Zoom along the way. I'm a stockbroker, so I'm asking for lots of different reasons here. But what are some of your favorite or preferred programs that allow people to work remotely together?
Yeah, Citrix WebEx from a security standpoint, it's not quite as slick as Zoom, but it does cover the security piece a little bit. What I'm really kind of rooting for and what we're trying to make work for our clients is Teams, Microsoft Teams. You guys probably know Microsoft is very left brain, not very smooth, not very elegant, but they've done a great job with trying to integrate and pull together the ability to share files and do this collaboration. So they have the ability to do the chat, the conferencing, the file sharing with co-editing that I mentioned, which is 2 or 3 people have one file open and they're both editing it at the same time. So I'm really kind of pulling for Microsoft to kind of edge out ahead. They've got all the features and functions. They're just not quite as slick. It's not as easy to jump. It's so much easier to jump on Zoom and just make it happen. So that's probably what we're really leaning towards. And of course, Microsoft has a strong partnership with providers like us from a back-end standpoint to try to deliver all those tools.
Our IT folks basically forbid us from using Zoom, but Microsoft Teams, you're right, it's a little bit clunky, but it works well.
Right.
Jason, I have a question. The recommendation for the software the Sentinel-1, is that more of a business software, or is that something that just an individual would be able to implement?
It really is. I would say that my bias and my experience now is predominantly within the enterprise small business market. But they do have a smaller package. I don't know what the minimum is right now, but I do think they have a means for an entry point for consumer. If not, there's some competitors that we could talk about, but yeah, predominantly we're talking about deploying this from a large corporate panel that we manage and distribute out to clients on a 5 to 10 user sort of a scale.
Hey, Jason, as you know, we're using WebRoot. Is that still a good tool to use?
I love WebRoot, and we've used WebRoot for years, and I'm glad you asked that. We're actually now systematically swapping out WebRoot. And it's not that WebRoot's bad, it's just that Sentinel-1 is better. And again, it gets into that 0 day. I don't know if you guys understand the concept of 0 day security, but the premise there, again, is that, traditionally, and even WebRoot, which has done a fabulous job, is building up a definition set. So if a virus is written by a miscreant, the virus is propagated, WebRoot has to have the security definition, detect it, remove it, clear it. So there's a lag. The virus could be in the system for a few days, whereas what we're talking about now is trying to use heuristics and artificial intelligence to detect the change in the system to identify that it's a virus based on the pattern. So it tries to outsmart it. You don't need to have the definitions in place. So that's why we are going to replace eventually all of our WebRoot users with the Sentinel-1.
I'd just like to add that I'm pretty sure we can check with Dr. Andrus, but I'm pretty sure my dogs are using Sentinel-1 for flea, tick, and other manifestations. that they have as well. So it's got to be great stuff.
They've got to be related somehow. Yeah, they just ripped them right on off, I guess. Same here, by the way.
Jason, I had a question about a program that my PMI group recently sent out. I'm still trying to vet it to understand a little bit more about it. It's called Verbella. Do you have any experience using that?
No, I'm sorry, I don't. I haven't heard of Verbella.
It was really cool. So you can go in and create like your own avatar, almost like an emoji or whatever they call that in the language of that terminology. But anyway, you create your own avatar and you have this virtual world where you can have conferences and different types of meeting rooms. And it was really neat. And as I've started to look into it to understand the capacity of the program, it's used by the SEALs and Special Forces. So I feel like if they're using it, then it's somewhat legit. But I didn't know if you had heard of it.
No, but thanks for mentioning it. I wish I would have known. That would have been more interesting than one of my 7 items, I think. I did have somebody call me recently that's trying to start a business along those lines with using avatars and virtual reality to try to engage people in bars and restaurants, and then work with the bars and restaurants to have them have a physical location that's virtualized. And not totally related, but I just thought that was interesting too. I'm kind of anxious to see how his business goes.
Hey, Jason, I just in the last week got 2 emails. Now, every once in a while, you'll get an email that looks very suspicious, and I just block the sender and junk it. But these 2 were different because the display name was exactly identical to 2 of my neighbors. The only reason I didn't open the attachment is that A, I wasn't expecting anything from them, and B, it was just in the language and context that, okay, this is suspicious. So this was something new to me.
Yeah, I'd probably have the conversation about something like that about once a week with clients. So it's very, very common. And the spoofing of the email and the name and the sender has gotten better and better. So it used to be pretty obvious. You could look at the email and it would say some sort of ridiculous Gmail address. Now they've gotten better in terms of perpetrating and showing you an email that's seemingly legitimate. So I get email that says Jim Kennedy, CMA, it looks like you. But I do have a lot of times what we do is we have a way to analyze the header. If somebody's concerned about it, we can copy all the gibberish out of the header of the email and we can apply it to a screen, and it parses out. And a lot of times it then will show you the fraudulent address. Even then, sometimes it's the legitimate address, so we have to kind of back it out a little bit further. In fact, my wife in her business, she was trying to get some P2P funding, and she had an email where she was backed into a corner where she had enter information. It looked like it was suspicious because the bank had done such a poor job with it. And it took us a long time to try to measure up and make the decision that it was safe enough to proceed. Otherwise, she had no choice but to let it sit. Fortunately, it ended up being legitimate. Now she's hopefully going to get some funding for her business. But yeah, they've gotten much better at it. But we do have a way to dig in there and get to a pretty high level of certainty. A lot of times I tell clients, you're going to have to pick up the phone and call this person,
There is no substitute for that. If you see something that looks unusual from somebody, call that somebody or send them a note and verify it before you open the thing up, and especially the attachments.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, I get all the time. People send me their email in question and say, "Is this safe?" So it's pretty hard. So this is from a client, a prospect, and I say, "Well, can you call them? Just call them." So absolutely.
That's great information, Jason. Thank you very much. Very informative, and especially timely right now. I've got a feeling that we're going to see a whole lot of PPP phishing. People saying, "Hey, your PPP loan has been approved. We just need your bank account number to deposit the funds."
Exactly.
So at any rate, I also wanted to announce, guys, if I'm not here next week, it's because I recently discovered that I'm related to a Nigerian prince, so I might be moving to Fiji. He's depositing the funds as we speak, so I may not be here. But actually, I do hope to see all you guys on next Saturday. So go ahead and, even if you haven't signed up on the Sign Up Genius, save that some time next Friday and Saturday. We'll need time to cook. We'll need time to serve. So pencil that in. Okay. Any other announcements for the good of the club or anything?
Yeah, if y'all don't mind, if you're logging in by telephone and you can't see yourself on screen, I can't see you either. And if you wouldn't mind, make a comment in the Zoom group chat to let me know who you are, and so I can get you logged in for attendance purposes. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Steve. Okay.
And I don't think I've seen the Sign Up Genius for the 16th.
Well, there's a reason for that. It hasn't come out yet, but it will be out hopefully today. I know Billy's been working incredibly hard and has been kind of swallowed up at work. So hopefully that will be coming out from somebody on staff later today or tomorrow morning at the latest. So be looking for it in your inbox. That one is legitimate. Okay.
Thank you for having me. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you,
Appreciate your
Jason.
help.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'll look forward to seeing you guys next Thursday morning, 7 o'clock. And I'll be in touch with the board about our next board meeting. We'll see how we're going to go about that. Thanks, guys. See y'all soon.
Good to see everybody.
Guys.
Bye.